I'm Ben from White Drone. I've been asked today to come on and talk more about what drones can do in the community, particularly more on the thermography side. So drones are everywhere now. Everyone's got one pretty much, good and bad. We see people with drones doing stupid things. Recently, there was one that someone's got. I'm not sure on the sentencing yet on that one, but they recorded a fire up in Manchester. Emergency services working over, using their drone to be in that airspace. It is ridiculous. We could have helicopters or anything coming in from some helicopters have thermal imaging cameras on, so they could be monitoring situations or vice versa. But the airspace isn't an open to drones as such. We limit ourselves to 120 meters. If we have to go beyond that, we put in no terms we comply with all CAA rules. But there are ways of not complying with that, and there are people who don't comply with that. So that there are nuisance issues with drones, but we try and use our drones more for commercial aspects, more data collection aspects. So we do everything from solar surveys, property surveys, land surveys. We've had some different things as well where we've had a device on it called a sniffer, which we've been using for methane detection. We're using that at the biodigester at Arrington. It's quite interesting to sort of see different levels of methane at 30 meters and 50 meters and 70 meters above the asset there. And then seeing how much is in the air, and we then apply that to a map so we know the larger areas where the methane were, etc., etc. For me, my area is more geospatial data collection and 3D modeling. So I prefer more to be mapping, taking a land map or a 3D model, interpolating that, bringing that either into a CAD model to go further with clients, or to overlay onto different CAD drawings that I've already come across. So there's one that we did for, if I could just screen share. So this one is for hardcore sands. And they were taking what they've got here for their map. They wanted to overlay over to what's already on site at the present time, which was just over a year ago. I still believe there's no progression gone on this at all as yet. So this is what they're planning at the moment, I believe. I don't know if the plans have changed. So this is the more luxury side homes. This side is the affordable housing, and at the back is more luxury homes that they wanted to put in. So what we did was we went out and captured what we call an author mosaic. So on that we are capturing anywhere between 100 to 3,000 or 4,000 photos. The drone itself acts as a rover, and we have a base station with us on site. We're logged into an iMetrip client. And generally, we're looking around about between 10, 50 mil accuracy. How do we get out of the share thing? No, I don't know how to get out of the share thing. Let's see.
So you want to stop sharing, Ben, if you want to move out of there?
Yep, I'm just trying to figure that one out.
At the top of the screen, on the top of the Zoom screen, that is, there'll be a stop sharing bar.
Zoom.
So if you alt tab to your Zoom screen, you should be able to see a stop sharing tab at the top of the screen, top middle. There'll be a green one for sharing and a red one for stop sharing.
Problem with having so many screens, it's on the other side.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry, I've got 6 screens here. So that's generally where I prefer to be, or of 3D modeling. So we can come in, we'll do a share again. So,
Morning, David.
what have we got there? That looks like, you show it up again. Mavic Mini 2
Auto robotics.
and Auto Robotics. Oh, you're one of those Autel people.
Yeah.
I've got a few over here on the side. How do you find it? What do you use it for?
Taking videos of areas around me to use either for the Green Party or to pick up bits where developers are spoiling the environment.
Okay, so evidence data collection then.
Yeah, but also things I go to like bike meets with thousands of bikes in one park.
Okay, so sometimes there you'd have to. Are you quite clued up in your CIA regs at all, or?
I go right at the edge looking sideways rather than above them, and it's less than 250 grams.
So as long as you keep them 50 meters away. So there's lots of regulations, but one of the big ones is crowds of people. You keep 50 meters away. Do you have flyer ID or A2CC?
Yeah, I got the operator ID
ID.
and now got to do the exam for the pilot one.
Yeah. So do another screen share. So something that can be done within the community that could help for you guys would be for roof surveys. So this is a particular one we do, which we provide a 3D model of the roof. So it's more easier for clients to actually see the defect. It does come with a report of findings. Then we can click on different parts of the roof. That will bring us to the image data that concerns. So probably from chip tiles, vegetation, tile slipping. Also from this as well, we can hand this over to roof contractors, builders. We can actually take accurate volumetric data. So we can take area mass data as well and measuring along the points. Another thing you can do as well.
Phenomenal level of detail.
It's fascinating.
This is really good. Unfortunately, when we come to look at the thermal one, I'm just loading up now. The image camera will never. We just couldn't get that level of detail. So this is a property in Cowes where we were looking at the thermal efficacy of the property. They recently purchased a property and they wanted more to know whether the insulation they knew they had the ball bearing insulation, the polystyrene insulation in the property before on records, but they wanted to know if it was taken out. So we're looking here. So anything dark is cold, anything more gold is hot. So on this side wall, it's very, very warm. So we could probably say that it was taken out this side. But looking at the front down here, possibly not. But we did have a slate coverage up here, which can block the thermals coming out. That's the reverse of the property. Let's go through that. One of the other things we do is dog searching.
So, sorry, can I just ask a quick question? So,
yeah.
On the thermal imaging, if someone's got a slate roof, you're saying that you're not able to assess the thermal integrity of the building?
Yes and no. So depending on the insulation that they have, so if the insulation that they have is directly over the loft cavity in space and it's thick enough, we're not really going to see a leak. If they have none, then we are going to see a hotter slate roof. But then it depends whether it's slate, whether it's concrete tiles, and what time of day we go there and how much heating they've got in their house.
Okay.
So one of the other things is dog searches. This one was for Dottie. So we're using the thermal camera, try and pick up and find her. And she was just here. So then we help ground crews to then lead to the position of where she is. So that. And also going back to geospatial data collection, a couple of years ago, we also did the landslip at Bembridge as well.
Yeah.
We've done an overlay, so we've done the ortho mosaic, and then done an overlay between what it originally was from the Google map to what it was about a month afterwards.
So Ben, do you get a lot of commissions from councils who are looking for changes to the vegetation or lost people or whatever? I should imagine old people who get lost must be quite high on the list.
Not so much. Mine's probably more insurance focused. So the Isle of Wight Council does have an in-house drone pilot, and they also use Ordnance Survey as well. So their in-house drone pilot is Mike Collins.
Yeah, there.
No, and they also use Ordnance Survey. So Ordnance Survey have flown that as well. That was for an insurance purpose. So that. If we go back to what we can do for property sides. So our first point would be for roof surveys. Share screen again. So for roof surveys, we can find either image data with a report or the 3D model. And holding a GVC and PDRA, we can fly larger drones than most with a Fly Ideas or the A2CFC, so we can get more cleaner, sharper, and closer images of defects.
So could you just give us
is it the doorbell?
How far away you are when you're taking these pictures?
So the drone has a 7x zoom lens on it, or 7x telephoto. So roughly off of the asset, we're probably maybe 6 meters, 7 meters above.
Right. I find that detail is fascinating.
Again, when we're trying to diagnose and help clients with roof surveys, you can't just rely on images such as this. It doesn't give you enough detail.
Right. But right there, you can see the missing side tiles and everything.
Yep. You also look at how much debris there, track of those wires being broken, slip tape. You can look at splitting the lead work here.
Not to scope for leaks.
And then from there, that one. So to come back into the thermal side, so this is a property in Gurnard, and the people have just moved in. They've been there for 6 months. They were coming up for having a chat with their landlord, and their big problem was they were having a lot of mold issues in certain rooms, and even with venting, having dehumidifiers on still continually happening. So I was contacted by the letting agent to come out and do a thermography report on the house. So this is internally looking up above at the ceiling. You can see the dark areas and the hotter areas, which led again to poor insulation. While before they moved into the property, they had the roof re-insulated. Once we put a drone up another day inside to go and have a look through the roof, we found out that the insulation at the front of the property and the rear of the property was missing. They hadn't covered it. So that's where they were getting the build-up of mould and things coming through, the condensation, which you can see here and here.
So that was just a handheld camera at that point?
So this is using the thermal drone, which will be this one here.
Right. Whoa.
Then we can see more clearly between where the insulation was coming down, sitting between the rafters there.
Benjamin, did you do a thermal survey from outside looking down onto the roof?
I did as well. So this is from outside as well. So this is looking down onto the roof. Notice at the top of the ridge, you're getting hotspots there. This is clay tiles. So really hard to see through, very thick. Again, so you can just see underneath on the eave here. You're starting to get a little bit of leak there, along the bottom as well. And then that was God's Hill. So this is an image from God's Hill as well, from above, to take a thermal image, which I believe I did a panorama of for social media. Again, back into the property. And then the client received this report. So the report here just told me values of different parts of the property to the temperatures. So we logged in the outside temperature and humidity, the inside temperature and humidity. And that helped us to do the emissivity report.
So do you get asked to do this so that people can see where they need to do insulation, or is it a lot of it is to do like you had here, where you need to go and show where the insulation is supposedly been done but has not been done properly?
It's more, the thermal side doesn't get requested a lot of.
It doesn't.
The more I get requested on thermal operations is for solar operations. So those houses that have recently either had solar panels been put on them or have had solar panels put on in the past, or for solar farms. We do generally solar farms, we do it every single year. Properties, large commercial units that have a large solar array on them, we do those either yearly or bi-yearly, depending on the client. For home, not so much. It's something that I feel they should be checking on more, and especially more on the fact that solar panels have a 10-year lifespan or guarantee to them, so they do need checking. There's some solar panels, such as Trinder Solar as well. There's a lot of corrosion internally with buzz bar and delamination as well, which gets overlooked within the property sector. So anything sort of within the last 8 years that's been put on properties really does need to be looked at.
What does your camera show you then that the solar operator is going to be interested in?
Let's put up some images of solar farms. Let's do another share again. So this is a solar array here. So if you're looking on the image, this section here, these cells are damaged, these cells are damaged, this cell over here is damaged, these cells here are hotspots as well, so they are damaged. Looking again, so this is a roof mounted system here.
Yes.
So these panels here are actually newer. So there's no damage in those. But you have a few hotspots up here and up here, which would probably be more than likely bird feces. This was at Bexton Sewage Works in London.
Right.
This is just a general solar array. This is one we have. This one is at Shanklin. So we can see delaminations in the panel on this one.
Ooh.
Gosh, look at that.
Yeah.
Other job we do, which I don't have the data to share with you, is for the serial number data collection. And I can't share that with you because of it's under GNN.
Right. But you can actually go ahead and find out the serial number of each panel.
Yes. So
Wow.
we can scan the serial number of each panels. I've got a little device coming, which we delivered today called a Manifold 3, which we've used for 3D mapping, but it pretty much adds a computer onto the top of the drone. So me and another client that I work for are going to try and create a program that will be able to go onto that device. So at the time of capture, it's able then to crop and annotate the image with the serial number to it. And also the barcode, whether we can read the barcode or not, but the serial number is more important than the barcode. So this is another solar race. This one's got quite a lot of damage. So we've got one full row of cells out here. And we've got a lot of cell damage in between. The little bit of specks, they would be more bird feces. These larger hotspots are cell damage. So it could be cracks, it could be burned out, it could be delamination.
Wow.
Let's see if there's anything more.
Benjamin, I do thermal surveys in a volunteer basis for fuel poverty homes, and we've done many. I actually did 2 last Saturday. What type of drone can I purchase to do the roof?
So you would be looking for a Mavic, DJI Mavic 3T, Mavic 40, but then you would need to have a A2 CFC to be able to operate that within close proximity to property.
Give me that model again.
It's the DJI Mavic 3 or the Matrice 40.
Is it something you could put into the chat, Ben, that would just, it stays as a reference and a record?
And also you can do cell tower surveys as well. So we do these as a 3D model, but also again looking at component issues as well. So generally trying to make sure there's no loose connections or anything at all in between them. No broken or cracked wires, no damage at all from birds. And
by the way, what camera do you use for infrared?
So the camera we use is built in from DJI, so it's a 640 by 480 irradiance, thermal irradiance camera.
All right, it's built, yeah.
And another thing we can also do as well is using drone is stress tables. We've done one recently of Coppins Bridge. We've done that a few times where we just record 1 hour footage from 10 to 5 all the way through to pretty much 6 o'clock. And that's just recording the volume of the traffic going through at certain times and at certain times of when traffic's being held up. The last one was for when there was work up at Coppins Bridge, not Coppins Bridge, Horsebridge Hill. This is parking stress table for Tesco's. This was to help them work out parking areas, how much car parks used over a 2-week period, for then looking at placing Burger King down here, I believe.
Right. So do you find that most commercial organizations are familiar with what drones can do, or is there a lot of education involved in what you're doing?
It depends on client. Some clients are, some clients aren't, and it's one of those. It's sort of you're trying to figure out what they want, and in the end, you're kind of telling them what they want sometimes.
Can I ask a quick question, Graham?
Go on, Ferdinanda.
Thank you. Hello, Ben. I'm in Bourton on the Water in the Cotswolds.
Yep.
We never have a down season. It's always busy. It's absolutely busy at the moment. And we're trying to do traffic surveys and other data gathering to know how people arrive, how long they stay, what they do. It's not people, individuals, obviously, it's anonymized, but just to get an idea of the flow. Is that something that drone technology could help us with?
It would be. And a good company to help you with that is a company called Drone Ranger. And they can do 12-hour sessions. And they're based in Portsmouth as well.
Drone Ranger, thank you. And can you give us, I'm not asking for a quote, but I am asking for ballpark. How much would it cost us?
Probably, so for me to do an hour's recording, which I supply raw data to, I charge them £140 plus VAT. But Drone Ranger, I've worked with them before, and they will edit the recording. They will do volumetric data calculations from that as well. And I'm not sure how much they'll charge you.
And is it a question of that could they do everything, or is it a question of that we come to you and then work alongside them?
You'll go straight to them.
Okay.
And they will be able to stitch the whole 12-hour video together and then also do car counts. You can also do different types of car counts as well, from camper vans to larger commercial vehicles as well.
So it can distinguish between the coaches, the minibuses and the cars. That's really what we're trying to get. And now pedestrian flow too?
Potentially. So difficult working closer to people because we have to think about safety. In a car, people traveling, we can mitigate the safety, but people not in the car traveling, even though they're still traveling, there's a large safety risk there. So we'd have to keep much further away. But it may be something you can talk with Drone Ranger about, that they may be able to help.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
You're very welcome.
And if we have a parish council who's interested in seeing where they could best spend money to help homeowners with their retrofits and so forth, do you ever get asked for the coverage of a complete parish and at night so you can see which houses are leaking and which are not? I mean, I know you've shown us photographs of that, but will you get commissioned to do that for us?
So we were in talks with a client for Ventnor last year to do thermal mapping and RGB mapping of the entirety of Ventnor. As a company, we didn't get it, but as an individual, I got to do some white label work on that for 2 days because the client who came down to do it wasn't able to cover all of it. So we can do a broad spectrum thermal map as well. So we can compare that with an RGB map during the day and then a thermal map at night.
Okay, thank you. Don't let our questions interrupt your flow if you've got more to show us.
I don't know how much more you want to see. I could talk about drones for ages.
But how about what we need to look for in terms of qualifications for companies doing things? Do they need to have the right compliance and so forth? What do they need? Okay,
so the drone rules have now changed as of 2026. So for anybody who wants to go out and fly a drone, obviously we need insurance first of all. And then depending on the size of the drone that we're using, so if we have a drone that's sub 249 grams, we can fly that with a flyer ID. But I would request that everyone gets a minimum of an A2 CFC, which gives us a little bit of knowledge of the airspace and the drone rules and regulations around how we operate, and also meteorological data as well. If you're looking to operate a drone that's anything really from 2 kilos up to 25 kilos, so anything from like an M400, M350 that have Pacific or set different payloads, we need to be looking at a GVC course, and then we provide that with a PDRA 01, which is predefined risk assessment from the CA, or we can look at getting operational authorization, so we can look at BV loss operations, look at other certain criteria of different operations, so they come into the SAIL category, which they use the SORA methodology for now from EASA.
There's a lot of numbers and letters there. I think I might ask you to just jot them down in a document and send it to me after later.
Some links, but for most of it, an A2 CFC for people wanting to fly a C2 drone or C1 drone, something like this guy, that can be flown with an A2 CFC at 3 meters per second flight mode, 5 meters away from people. For drones that's slightly larger, which I don't have any of here, so it's a slightly larger drone. That one really needs to be kept 50 meters away from people. And you can mitigate people. So with GVC, you can fly over people, and we can keep that again to the 5 meters. But we can mitigate things such as people in homes. That drone is not going to cause damage really to a home or a person. Again, to a people traveling in cars, there's a nice safety risk there because no safety risk there because they're sat in the car. But for people standing around loitering, things like that, that then becomes a risk issue and also becomes a crowd as well. We need to keep away from those.
May I ask a question at this point, Graham?
Go ahead, Brenda, just get on with it.
Thank you. Okay. Christmas time. We had our Christmas tree in the water at Bourton-on-the-Water.
Yep.
The Christmas tree light switch on with Father Christmas. We had over the 800 people. I say that just for those of you that know about the Terrorism Act and what we will have to bear in mind going forward when that comes into being. If it's over 800 people in a public space that you're running as a council, then you've got additional responsibilities. So it was over that. This drone was huge and did have a camera attached to it because I know that whether you've got a camera or not comes into play as well. And it was flying over the top of people, children, all of those crowds gathered. What powers do parish and town councils running such events have to ask that person to cease, desist, and go away?
Okay, so if they're taken off from council or parish land,
yeah, they were.
Then if you ask them they're not allowed to, then they're not allowed to.
And
so
if they carry on, is that a police matter?
Yes, it will be a police matter.
Yeah.
The fact that they're flying over with that size drone over people as well, again, will be a police matter. And it depends on the organisation that was doing it, whether they have applied for and have got a operational authorization to do that. Do you have some drone operators that will operate over festival sites and things?
Because we have bylaws that say no flying overhead of anything, but it predates drones existing.
Yeah.
So the police are kind of, well, we're not too sure. There probably have to be a test case as to whether it applies specifically to drones or not. However, it's in the too difficult category for our little parish council.
So the first and the largest category there is that the drone is flying over a crowd of people. The crowd of people is determined on how big the volume of the crowd is and how easily they are or able to move away if something happens to the drone. Generally, a drone does not have a redundancy as such. So some drones, larger drones, will have like an opticopter rather than a quadcopter, will have more than 4 sets of propellers. So if one goes out, then there is one that will pick up the slack there. But if one goes out on the quadcopter, the drone will fail and will fall. So I would class this one as, so this is a 900-gram drone with a battery in it. I would class this one, if it falls and hits somebody, it can cause significant damage, especially if the propellers are spinning. There can be some severe lacerations to it. If it's a small drone or sub 250, it's not going to cause too much in the way of damage, probably a few light grazes or cuts. But for larger drones, it is death.
It was bigger than that. It was bigger than either of the two that you've shown.
So we would class that as death. But unless they have an operational authorization, which they should have talked to the council for or about in the first place, then they shouldn't be filming. And if you haven't given them permission to take off or land on council lands, again, then they're also breaking the law because they're trespassing. But the biggest issue there would be not the trespassing, would be flying over a crowd of people. And that would be what to take away from it as well.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. And also the fact this is recorded means that I can take it to council. But I also add in the Terrorism Act, this is otherwise known as Martin's Law, that comes into effect this year. and all parish and town councils are responsible within their risk assessments for any events, and outside any event over 800 people comes into this. So it's definitely one if you're a parish or town council person to look into and ask some questions if you're running any form of event, or even if you're giving permission for others on your land, or that somehow you might be seen as separately part of the chain of accountability and responsibility. So I saw it also as a potential terrorism issue, in the sense that you don't know what's attached to the drone when you're running a crowd of that size.
No, you don't. And you don't know whether what data collection is used off of it as well. It could just be used for media purposes and things. But at an instance, then the drones do have fantastic zoom lenses on them. And when we come to a crowd of people, we can operate 50 meters away from them. So we can do that. Another thing you could do as well, or looking at when an event is coming up, that if you feel that you want to block drones, and you do have responsible drone pilots in the area who are thinking of flying, is to put a NOTAM in. So the NOTAM will create a no-fly corridor as such. And if a pilot is responsible, or a drone pilot is responsible, they know that they can't take off there, or they need to contact the person who has applied for that NOTAM to ask for permission. But some people don't. And there is no way unfortunately now with DJI have taken away the geofencing area, that they can fly pretty much wherever they want to, which is also bad as well.
Excuse me, could you just say that word again? NOTAM?
NOTAM.
How do you spell that? What's the acronym?
There you go, I've just put it in the chat.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Perhaps you could explain what it stands for, Ben?
Notice to Airmen. So
Right.
It's guide nats. So every pilot in the UK will go on there and check that before takeoff and landing to make sure that their flights are going to be safe. A responsible drone pilot should do that as well, especially as performing as part of their risk assessment. But again, some hobbyist drone pilots don't know, and that's where having an ATCC will come across as providing more intelligence for them.
We actually asked for name and for personal details, and we weren't. They weren't cooperative, let's say.
So again, then that's bad on their case. So if they're doing it for a commercial aspect, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that, or wouldn't want to do that. I have a card that I always hang around my neck, and that always has my operator ID, my flyer ID, my business ID, and I have a folder that comes on site with me that always goes on my safety tub, and that has all my documents in it. So I have the risk assessment for it, the method statement, copies of insurance, copies of any permissions that I need as well.
That's what we understood we could expect from people. I was alongside Jennifer, who is known to the Banter sessions. Jennifer's a professional drone flyer for Thames Water. She's a catchment manager, and she uses drones and is trained therefore. And she knew what to expect, and she's trained me in all of this, or made me more aware. So I had no hesitation when she said to me, we need to go and do something about this. So it was really helpful that you just clarified all of the back sort of information that I was just going on trust with Jennifer. But it also helps
be
us
better next time, rather than approaching a drone pilot as you guys in pairs.
Yeah.
If you are in an event, you do have a police presence there, is to take a police officer with you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we only had that night one police officer for the whole of the North Cotswolds, and they were already booked at another event. And this is Christmas tree light on season.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, you mentioned earlier being restricted from going closer than 5 meters to people under certain conditions. I would have thought that 5 meters with a camera and a drone making a lot of noise was extremely irritating. But is there a noise issue with drones?
Yes, definitely. So the larger drones have higher decibels. So you can operate, the smaller drones will generally operate around about 50 to 60 decibels. The mid-sized drones will operate around about 98, and then our large drones are somewhere in the region of 140 to 200.
Wow.
So there is an issue with noise, and it becomes anything from the smaller ones are like a mosquito, the larger ones are like a classic drone, and the big ones are like a Spitfire taking off sometimes.
I used to
Really?
race karts, Ben, and when I raced karts, we were talking about 120 max. So you think of a racing cart, how loud that is. That's 120. And this is an exponential scale, isn't it, decibels?
Yeah.
So for every one you go up, it isn't a linear relationship. It's significantly noisier at the top
And then
end.
it also depends on altitude as well. So if the drone is 5 meters, then it's I wouldn't dream of putting one of these guys 5 meters above people's head, even in the public. Even when we're doing roof surveys in commercial areas, I would bring this drone in for more of the high street locations. And within residential, I don't mind using the larger drone. If people are coming in, then it moves backwards across to either the rear garden or the center of the roof.
How are you doing for your future look at your crystal ball, Ben? Are we going to be surrounded by drones delivering packages from Amazon and DPD and all the rest?
I don't believe we can do that because the airspaces will get too congested.
Right. So big countries like Canada or Australia can do it, but not here in condensed little islands.
No. So one of the drones I have, which I've been picking up recently, is this guy here. So this is a multispectral drone, and I've been working with a couple of farms on the island to be able to use it to provide index mapping for their crop. So GNDI, the NVDI, looking at different nitrogen takes, looking at different ways in which the crop is affected over the year, and then provide them with a. So I haven't done it for a while now. So I can provide them with a map so when they go out in their tractor, a variable rate spraying map, and then they're not putting 100% of the product over the entire field. They can rate where it needs to go best. So we've got to a point now where we come to cost. The cost is too expensive. It's too expensive for me to go into the field to fly compared to the data that I get from satellite. So this will provide us with anything from 3 to 5 GSD capture, and that's the GSD is ground sampling distance, and the 3 and the 5 are measured in centimeters for each pixel, whereas a satellite from the sky provides them with 33.3 meters or 30 meters, depending on which service they use. For our farms on the island, it doesn't provide enough data because the cropland is so small. The only way that this is really beneficial is for us to use a agris drone or an agri drone. With the Isle of Wight demographic of everything so compact and so close and footpaths everywhere, I cannot feasibly use one of these drones. These drones are in the large category, so they're what we would call a class 5 drone, and one of those uncontrolled would take your arm off. They've got big carbon fiber propellers. They're not toys. They're not. So we can't use them over here, and we could generally, if you use an agri drone on a crop, you remove tram lines. You can do complete crop care, and you generally get around about 12% of the value of that field return, more than you would having a tractor going for it.
Oh.
We can't use it over here, and it's too expensive to take over on a ferry and a trailer all the time.
It is interesting that the state of the art now is such that the drone can pass the GPS coordinates straight to the tractor, and then the tractor knows where to go and how much to spray when he gets there.
Yep. So we link our drones with. So our drones will operate on our commercial drones will operate with a base station, then an entry client. Then the drone itself essentially acts as a rover, so every picture is geotagged with its location. And it helps more for when we're doing our modeling and things as well, for tying points.
And is there a big difference between video and photographs in terms of, I take it you can overlap photographs so you get a continuous survey, but they are photographs rather than video?
Yeah, so video, you're going to get a lot of motion blur through. So you want to be recording photographs, and you can slow the drone down, slow the shot down depending on conditions. With a video, it doesn't provide the same. I've done a couple of models with videos, and there's too much blur in there, or enough in there for me not to use or see as a valuable asset or deliverable for a client.
Right.
And if you notice behind me, there's a flashing light. So this is one of our docs that we use. So essentially, we now are starting to look into the world of automation. So we have a drone that lives in a dock. We've got a couple on site at the moment. We've got one here at our test site. We live over our office is over East Afton. We have a small solar farm here, so we have a drone that lives down there, and from there we can do automated flights. So we completely, we've got it as a BVLOS operation.
Right. So do you have to maintain remote control of the drone all the time, or are you allowed to just leave it on its own, on autonomy?
No, the CA prefer that we leave it on its own on its predetermined autonomous flight. That we've generally do around about 50 of those with us on site before we then hand over for it to be fully autonomous.
Fascinating.
Benjamin, tell me, in Ukraine, do they is there a drone that can sit up at 500 feet continuously, fed with data coming down with a fiber optic cable and power going up through a cable? Can it sit up there indefinitely?
Yes. Yeah, as long as it's got consistent supply of power and the weather conditions are adequate for the size of the drone, it can sit up there indefinitely. Yeah.
Whoa.
Is that a common thing?
I don't know on that side of the Ukraine things. I know on the Ukraine side of the two different types of drones that they use. I've flown one of the disposable FPV drones that they would use to carry a small mortar or bomb on. I'm not sure what it is. We had some clients over last year who came and collected some bits, but that was quite interesting, very fast. And they brought the Bubba Jaeger over as well, which is the larger drone, which can carry about 6 mortars on, I believe. So 6 different payloads on it to deploy. And they took one of our drones away with them. So they prefer the Mavic 3 T2s out of there because they can change the signal on there roughly every 5 milliseconds. So they don't know where the pilot is when they're trying to track people bunker down at night when they're deploying. And we also talked about, we've done some work counter UAS over here for a company with doing different drone operations and different ways in which it can pick up different size drones. We had 11 drones up in the field at one time flying in front of the sensor, all ranging on different speeds. One of the drones was traveling about 100 miles an hour. The rest were all traveling around very different speeds depending on the size, how close. And we don't know, because of the client, we don't know any more information on that and how it's used, but they're trying to produce sort of a small compact camera, much like a PTZ camera form, rather than the large cameras at the moment. We've done a little bit of work with client in cows, and we're pre-building a few drones for them that wouldn't mind taking a bit of a bash, because we were frying the milliwatt receiver in them, so they're potentially firing a high band milliwatt ray at the drone to burn out the receiver. But for our client that we had over last year, the best counter UAS use for a drone at the moment is a single barrel shotgun.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Ben, what facilities do they have for anti-collision nowadays to stop you running into another drone or a building or an overhead cable?
So most drones now have omnidirectional sensing. See, the lower price drones don't have that, but as the more commercial aspect and the more drones generally over £1,000 will have that on. FPV drones generally don't have any anti-collision or omnidirectional sensing. The omnidirectional sensing is, sorry if I bring it up, so it has these small cameras in up here.
Right.
And they have those also on the top as well, on the bottom. The bottom also has a small little LiDAR unit as well, which uses to track distance from the ground up to 25 meters. Beyond that, the drone has a built-in biometric sensor. And then with these drones, we can put on a payload, so we can have a small LiDAR sensor on the top, and that will also use for anti-collision.
Yeah, even my little drone has got front and back sensors, but not the sides.
And does it have the software that will, having detected something, keep it away from that something?
Yes.
It beeps and beeps and beeps.
Well, let's have a look. Oh, fantastic. So I'll just do another screen share with you.
Yeah.
Benjamin, that LiDAR that you've got on the drone, is it possible to use that to get the height of a building and to get the area of the roof, the slope of the roof?
Yep, and you can do that as well with 3D models. So I'm just going to share video now. So this is one that I've done for a company called HeliGuy, and we had a certain product that they wanted to test. So we've done it with very different variant models. So if you look on the screen here, right down in the center at the bottom, you can see that large red section. That's the omnidirectional sensors picking up the object in front. Over on the right-hand side, we've got the actual omnidirectional sensor camera feed showing us on display. The virtual asset or display is down here in the bottom on the left-hand side. And what we're seeing with all these green lines going around is the flight path in which we're determined to take the flight route for a 3D model capture. So as the drone moves around, every waypoint gets roughly around about 5 pictures as it flies around.
Wow.
Anyone got any questions on that video at all? Or?
And then the client will use this for what sort of purposes?
So once we've recorded all the data, we'll bring that together, render it into a 3D model, and then we can use that to take accurate measurement details. Some clients will have a 3D model done of a property before they purchase it. Sometimes they generally can't come over to the island to view it. So generally landlords that are looking to increase their portfolio will ask us to do an inspection or take several different images depending on which landlord and how much they want to pay for, really.
Yeah. Most intriguing.
Okay, so let's just do a stop showing on that one. So for LiDAR, so this is a LiDAR data set from Black Gang China. So at the moment, we're looking at the RGB side, or normal regular camera side.
I love that maze.
Yeah, maze there. Some cliff foot. So if we go through and look at, so we can look at the height. So that's height from ground level or sea level being at green, and then its intensity increases up to the top where the trees are.
Right.
And obviously the cliff. Intensity, or say the return rate on the laser point coming back from the drone from what it fires out. So this is the L3 sensor. So we're firing out 16 million laser points per second. Anything with green is good, blue not as good, and red is bad. So looking at the return there in the greater detail there. To the point. And then the trajectory. Most of the time we will generally be using the height. So this is the cafe here at Black Gang. So say if we wanted to take a measurement of this point here to this point here. Can you just show me that? So I don't normally use Terra for this.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
And what does a 3D mesh show you?
3D mesh. is going to show us the 3D model generated from the cameras. It's not as good as doing a pure 3D capture. This was done as an oblique data set and not a oblique orthomosaic data set, not an oblique data set.
Yeah, but it does give you a view there.
It does give us a very good view.
Yeah.
But not as more of a detailed view. So let's see what assets we've got on Terra already.
But if you're looking at some sort of disaster and you can come in and people can immediately see how widespread it is, how severe it is, and that sort of thing, very, very useful.
Yeah, so if the weather allows us to, we did last year do, I believe that was for Island Roads for...
Oh, just down around the Military Road area.
Military Road I did for free for Becky Cameron, councillor.
Yeah.
We did a bit further down from there. It was at Easter time. There was a rockfall there. This is something we do for Blackgang generally every month during the winter, and then every quarter during the summer, depending on can we get down there, timescale we can get down there. Obviously, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we can't operate there at all. We provide that's a no-go site. I would provide them with a 3D map consistently all the time of this area here, predominantly. This is where they've been known to having most of the landslips in recent years.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can forecast when the houses are going to start falling into the sea.
We can measure how much is falling away, yeah.
Yeah.
And let's have a look. And also, I don't have a data set for them. One thing we can do as well, using one of our FPV drones. So if we look at an area that, say, is hazardous, so part of Page the Packages, they had a small amount of fall off of the cliff, and also they had quite a bit of flooding coming in a few weeks ago when we had the severe rain on Sunday.
Yeah.
So they wanted a few different aspects captured. Because of the risk area coming behind here, they didn't want anyone to come behind or walk in here. So we could use a smaller drone, such as this gentleman here, to be able to operate in there safely. And we're not too worried if it butts up against something because we've got protection with the inductive propeller guards on there. And then we're able to come down and have a look at the bottom here of the building. This is where we believe the water was coming in.
So no human trespassing there, just the machine. Until you crash it, you have to go and get it.
Well, hopefully we don't want to go and get it, but
that's fantastic detail. It's just fascinating.
So just down here is where the water was leaking in that.
Right.
And we use the same drone as well for doing videos as well.
And are they good at staying where you tell them? You can just tell it to sit there and wait until something happens.
They are. They're very, very precise. I can't say how I love flying drones like this. It's I don't often get a chance to fly what we call this is FPV, but also in challenging areas where it is a challenge to fly around obstacles and things.
Yeah.
Most time I'll be doing stuff that's with social media for this. Let's quickly change my screen. This one is whale chime. Again, whale chime's inaccessible to humans. We can't really get down there without risk. So this is a really good way to be able to view the condition of it. And there's also, that's it really. Victoria's same. It's just for me to entertain myself, really.
Are you meant to be sharing this because we aren't seeing it yet?
Yeah, you're more than happy to watch this. I do every now and then. I'll go out and do a random flight and share images from around the island. Along with this one, which is from our 360 drone.
We're not seeing anything at the moment, Benjamin.
Oh, is that one not on screen?
No, when Graham says share, he meant that you meant sharing with us here now.
Oh dear. Did you not share the last video at all?
No, none of it.
None of it. I'm pretty useless, aren't I? Here's my thing. What screen have I got you on?
Sure, you make up for it in other areas.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Now I've lost the. Am I not sharing my screen at all with you guys?
No, you need to go to your blue Zoom screen and share.
Okay.
There we go.
Right. So do we see the stuff for page to packers?
No, what we see at the moment is your Windows screen. There we go.
Switching back into Tube.
I'm just seeing Windows at the moment.
Yep, I'm just going to quickly bring up. Video. Sorry, I deleted that one off. So
Okay, now we are seeing it.
Tried. Did I put the video of page packers up, going behind the back there of the cliff in Ventnor? So this is well tried. I think I said it before, but this part of well tried you really can't get to unless you put yourself at risk. Well tried doesn't have an accessible footpath down to it anymore. And there are people that do cross down the slip bank.
Well, So is this data being stored on the drone, or is it coming back to you for storage on land?
Both. So we get a low feed that comes back to the controller. There's some people coming down where they shouldn't be. So we get a low feed coming back, depending on different types of drone, between 720p and 1080p to either the headset or the controller, and then the drone itself is recording in 4K.
Right. That's quite fascinating. Thank you very much.
Another use you can use for the thermal drones, which they have been using, is so this time of year where we're getting a lot of heavy rainfall, is for sewage treatment outlets. So if they're outletting more than they should be, or outletting polluted water, that's a lot hotter than the surface water. So use a thermal drone then to capture that as well.
Is that the sewage company that's doing that, or the surface against sewage and that sort of people?
So this time of year, there's generally the sewage companies will, or this sewage outlets will be outletting more water than they should because of the amount of rainfall that comes down through. So they could be outletting raw sewage. And the way you can see that raw sewage is because of that's got a hotter core temperature than the water that it goes into. Using a thermal drone, you can see that being outletted. Using something like a Mavic M4 TD or a drone that's more waterproof and more wind resilient, you can see that in poorer weather conditions.
Southern water, here we come.
Yeah, so put those wonderful big fines in on the water company. Yeah.
Well, they put out an email every now and again when they're prepared to admit that they're overflowing into the ocean, but I'm not sure. I'm sure people would like to keep tabs on how accurate they are with their drones. I'm conscious of time, Ben. Are you all right for time? Everyone else is.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine.
Does anyone else have any questions for Ben, please?
Ben, I was thinking of a drone sitting up stationary for hours. Have they used them for disaster areas where they can put a cell up for mobile phone communication in a disaster area? Because it would just sit up there and relay.
I don't know about using that for relay. It may interfere with the drone signal itself. They do operate on the 5G and the 2.4 gigahertz bands, which is also the same as for Wi-Fi. So there could be potential issues there and signal degradation. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
And do they have they been able to use a laser for communication like they're doing with the satellites now?
I don't know on that.
Okay.
Most drones that we operate will have a laser rangefinder on there for distance, but that's about it. So we can operate with ground crews and tell them distance away of certain things, but that's about as far as we can get with the laser on there.
I think that's probably coming because they are now using laser for communication to the satellites. In fact, the laser communications can go from Saturn to Earth.
That's very interesting.
But the quality of what you've been showing us must be really super useful for earthquakes or tornadoes or things where houses have collapsed and you don't want people to go trampling over the house because they may well make it worse. You can certainly send a drone in there. Very interesting.
So with this drone again, we've used that before with a company called IRAD, and we trained Hampshire Enhanced Police for hostile situations. So one of their mock units, they had someone in a hostile situation with two people with armed weapons, and we used a drone to go into that room to be able to see what was going on before they took it out.
Yeah.
How long can you leave it up before your battery goes flat?
Depending on the drone. It all depends on drone. So that one's roughly around about 15 minutes. Some of our smaller drones, some of my FPV drones last for about 3 minutes, and our larger drones, anything from 35 minutes with the Mavic 4 TD that lasts for about 50 minutes, and the M400 lasts for about 50 minutes. But again, all depends on weather as well, on what the wind resistance is doing as well.
Well, Ben, I found that to be absolutely fascinating and very helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If nobody else has got any questions, then maybe we should say thank you and call it a day. But it's been really fascinating. And thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you.
Ben, if you'd
Yes,
like to put your email address in the chat, then people who want to can get in touch with you should they need to.
That's an interesting point you raised, Mike, about communications in a disaster area, because mobile phone masts, some of them have got battery backup, some of them have got battery and generator, but we don't know exactly where they all are. In the event of you having like days or weeks, once we lose the landlines now, which we will be doing by next year, they're going to be relying completely on digital communication. And if that goes down, if your local masts go down, that'd be a good way to get some signal going, wouldn't it? To stick a drone up there with a transmitter on top, or relay on top. Yeah. You want to float that idea, so there's a commercial opportunity there, mate.
Potentially. One of the things we have that we bring on site with us is our tactical communications hub, which has a 5G router in it, dual SIM, and also our Starlink in there as well. So we use that for wherever we go. Some sites, unfortunately, don't have any signal at all, particularly in Wales. We're finding a few that don't. So we're using Starlink a lot more. And the prices of Starlink are definitely coming down a lot more now as well.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Great. Thanks for your time, everyone. Graham, thanks for organising.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
So much. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye now.